What's up, YouTube? Today, unfortunately, I have to say goodbye to my grinder that I've had for about 15 years. Now, this was given to me by my grandfather, and it's served me very well, and you can actually see just how much use it has gotten over the years. Unfortunately, today, the brush assembly right here actually melted and fell out, so she is done. But for a Harbor Freight special, if you will, I would say she's done very well over the years, and I have nothing to really complain about. Unfortunately, it's dead. So today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the Makita 4.5-inch SJS High-Powered Angle Grinder. Now, at a price tag of $159.99, this has a lot to live up to for what was probably at the time, or at least the equivalent now, a $79 grinder. So for almost $100 more, this has a lot that it has to bring to the table. Now, the reason why I went for this one was because this one has the ability of doing not only grinding, but cutting. So you probably could have done just cutting with the other one as well. But the old-fashioned, let's just send it kind of mentality may have been kind of a bad idea. So, doing this with one hand. Can you do this with one hand? You can't. So that's the actual grinder itself. Let me put you guys on the tripod, and we'll kind of go through the kind of quality of build here. Now, what comes in the actual box itself is the actual grinder, a handle for the side, which is nice that this just kind of screws right into it instead of having the thing that clips to it. So I'll give them props to that. It is ambidextrous, or whatever side you want to go on. It comes with a Makita grinder, which we'll put that aside. We're not going to use that today. It comes with a shroud. And anything else? Oh yeah, the tool to take it off, which is great because I lost my tool years ago and I've been using just a good old pipe wrench. And other than that, it comes with the warranty and everything like that. So, that out of the way. Let's kind of go through what you get. As far as the grinder disc goes, it's a grinder disc. The handle is just a hard plastic, no rubber or anything, which same thing with this one. The plastic looks like it's a polymer reinforced with some type of fiber. It's hard to say without really kind of scratching at it. Yeah, it's nice and hard, so there's that. Same with the back. No. Yeah, I'd say they're about the same. Definitely fiber reinforced. A nice housing on the top. I like the finger grabber thing to steady this so that you can lock it in place and turn it. That's nice. Alright, so like I was saying, nice sturdy enclosure. I don't see any imperfections that are glaring. It is a little big in the hand compared to the old Harbor Freight one, but I think that's because it's a little bit more heavy duty. And I don't really like this button on here. You can see, kind of annoying. I don't know if that's a safety feature, but with how big this is and you're holding it, it twists a lot and it doesn't. There we go. I guess you kind of have to get used to it. Which is just one of the old-fashioned styles, I guess. I don't know. Not very thrilled with the actual button. This handle is a joke. It's not the same kind of quality as far as yeah, this one's not fiber reinforced. So the handle's kind of a joke. I like the placement of it, but it's not comfortable if you're going to be using it for any period of time. And ultimately, I don't think it's overly robust either. So I'm going to say the handle's a fail, and I'll probably never use this. Guys, always use this. Not very safe not to. Do as I do. Do as I say, not as I do. That's how it goes. Although, that's pretty cool. It seems like it has a mechanism for an easy detachment, which is great. So maybe I will use it and be a good society safety person. But I don't know. Let's see what this does. Try her out. Now, right before I start cutting on this, I want to point out that one thing I always had to struggle with on the actual grinder itself, the old grinder I should say, was my old one, you had to really line this up, and then you had to hold right where it was so that it wouldn't slide, and then put it on. And there was no guarantee it would actually be perfectly square to, or not square, but centered. This one's neck fits very well, so you know you're actually getting a good lock onto it. So there's a good point. So I'm going to take this back off and go ahead and assemble the guard on it. Listen, I'm not your father, so you do whatever you want, but I do recommend a full face shield, ear protection, safety glasses, and the guard on your grinder when you're about to go grind on stuff. Also, long sleeve shirts work as well, if you don't want your arm burnt all to crisp. So, with the shield on, I'm going to go ahead and, oh, we're caught, there we go, tighten her up. Right off the bat, I would say this little button thing's a little bit more frustrating to use than the old Harbor Freight center button, but it does the trick. Yep, I'm already disliking this button here. Turn it down to 4. So right off the bat, the thing I can definitely tell you is it's really not as bad as I thought it would be in your hand. It actually fits very well. This button, I do not like it at all. I'm trying to push it up and it kind of gets in its own way. Like, I can't push it up here, I gotta push down, and if you're not pushing down, like so this little last whatever you want to call it, weird switch on it, not digging this at all. Don't like it. But as far as it goes, it has a little bit of a gentle ramp up, which is all well and good. I don't care if it just starts up like this or it ramps, but it does not slow down at all, where the Harbor Freight one definitely was struggling to cut that earlier. So guys, I'm liking it so far. Give me about 15-20 minutes playing with it, and I'll give you a little bit more definitive of an answer. All right, I'll be right back. All right, guys, so here's my opinion on the Makita 4.5-inch SJS High-Powered Angle Grinder. That's kind of how I feel about it. So for a price bracket that you're looking at right here, you expect to have something that's going to be very user-friendly. And I understand that this is a cheap Harbor Freight special. That's wonderful. That's great. One of the things I really like about this thing is when I'm waiting for it to spool down, I can set it upside down away from me so it doesn't start scooting across the ground. And you can actually see it has like little feet for that. This does not have that. Not really. You're going to be setting it right down pretty much flat on the back of this thing. I've been using it for about an hour now. And the biggest complaint I have, with or without the shroud on, she's kind of bulky. I mean, she's significantly bulkier than my old one. Now, sure, maybe this is a little bit more heavy duty, but this was labeled as a heavy duty one back in the day. Once again, the biggest complaint I have, no replacing of the brushes. That is a very disappointing thing about this one. As far as the height, I do like that this is a little bit skinnier than this guy. This is a lot nicer. Allows you to definitely center your actual cutting off blade or your grinder blade so you're not off balance. I do really like that. One thing that grinds me the most about the grinder, pun intended, is this switch. I can't tell you how many times I was struggling to get this thing to go. I'm sitting there and I'm trying to push on it, but it's all safety related and like you're trying to get into a tough spot and turn it on. And I just 3 tries. It took me 3 tries. And then sometimes it won't stay because it's got to be just right. A couple other issues I have with it. So other than the fact that the switch is annoying, the placement of the El Special is a lot nicer. I can sit here with my left hand, turn it on if I'm having to use my left hand in a really tight spot. Now we try doing the same thing with this thing. I got to turn it to the side, fight with the damn thing. Come on, there you go. And now I got to turn it like this. I'm not a fan of that at all. And just like that, I go grab it with my other hand and I just shut it off. The other thing I really like about Harbor Freight is this button right here is in the center. I can access it very easily with my right hand or my left. This is a much better machine if you're looking to do ambidextrous work or you're in a tight spot and you have to use your left hand. This machine right here, I'm really sad it died on me today because I really rather be using this guy compared to this guy, where if I want to change this out, I need to use my left hand, and it's very awkward. And if I want to use my right hand, it's very easy. But I'm right-handed, so I want to hold this with my left and use the tool with my right. It's a lot more awkward to use. As far as this goes, you know, it's pretty straightforward. It's a shroud. I have no complaints about the shroud. The build of this is great. The user-friendliness of this, guys, very disappointed with this. And for the price bracket, I really could care less if it ramps up and does all this, if I have a lot more struggle to use this thing. So, take it what you will. I wouldn't recommend it. Stuck with it, but I wouldn't recommend it. So, if you're looking for another one, maybe someday down the road when I can afford a different one, if you guys want different types of reviews on tools, I'm going to give you my God honest opinion. Yeah, it's built well. Kind of concerned. Oh, actually, she still shimmies a little bit, but guys, oh, that was expensive just to have something that is just frustrating to use. But it cuts damn well. Its speeds are awesome. As far as a tool goes, the box numbers are great. And I'll be honest, cutting it didn't slow down at all. It just wanted to go. Apparently it does have a clutch, so if it does get bound, it will stop on you and it won't just burn right up on you. But get ready to have a machine that is not very comfortable to use. So that's my opinion on the Makita grinder. It is well built, except for the little bit of shimmy in the actual handle, which isn't terrible. And actually, as I've been using it, it seems like it's stiffening up. But this button, you really have to fight it. Whereas this guy right here, as I'm using it, I just, ready? And when you're in a tight spot, having to fight with this thing, boy, I bought a piece of junk. All right, guys. That's all I can really tell you about that grinder. I do not recommend it. Not a bit. I have a half of mine to return it and the other half agreeing. Although I've already used it and it's kind of beat up at this point. I mean, she's a tool. She's not meant to be princess. And it's not very ergonomic. I mean, not even the fact that it's not ergonomic, it's just not natural to use. It's up to you guys, but I'm gonna give this a fail. As a tool, great. To use it, no. That's all. I know I probably repeated myself a few times there, but very upset. This is expensive. Have yourselves a wonderful night. Don't buy the Makita. We'll try out something else someday, but not that one.